My boyfriend, 32M, and I, 26F, have been dating for about 5 months now, and he is honestly the best thing that ever happened to me. He is the first guy who has ever made me consider marriage and starting a family. I truly loved him. Last weekend was his mom's 60th birthday, and my boyfriend was going to the birthday party. He thought it would be a nice occasion for him to introduce me to his family, so he asked me to join him. We let his family know that he was bringing me, and they were okay with it. His parents' place is 3 hours away from the city we live in, so we decided that we were going to spend the night there. When we arrived at his parents' place, his mom, dad, brother, and sister were there waiting for us. They hugged me while greeting me, and I honestly thought they were genuinely happy to meet me. It didn't feel like anything was off, and they all seemed like nice people. We spent the evening talking, and there was a lot of laughter, and everything was going great. At around 8 p.m., my boyfriend and his brother left for the airport to pick up a relative of theirs who was flying in for the party. So, I was left at the house with his mom, dad, and sister. I didn't feel unsafe or anything. They had been nice to me the entire time. I had left my phone charging in the room where we were going to sleep, so I excused myself to go check if I had any important messages or calls. There weren't any, so it didn't take long until I started heading back to the living room, and as I was walking back, I heard them talking. His mom had just said, "So, what do you think about her?" I immediately knew they were talking about me, and I honestly wanted to know what my potential in-laws thought about me, so I stopped and listened. His dad said, "She seems nice." His sister agreed with him and added, "She's pretty too." Then his mom said something that immediately made me sick to my stomach. She said, "Yeah, if only she wasn't an effing N-word." And they all agreed with her. My heart dropped. For context, if it wasn't already clear, I am black and my boyfriend and his entire family are all white. I tiptoed back to the bedroom and just sat there, so confused. I was shaking so much I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call my boyfriend, but I had a weird feeling, so I didn't. I felt so alone and unsafe, like I couldn't trust anyone around me, not even my boyfriend. I live in Canada, and people here are not as open with their racism as in other places, which, in my opinion, is much more scary. Now, at that moment, the only people I could think of asking for help were my sisters. One of my sisters lives in the US, and the other one is in Canada but in a different province. They both live far away, so there is nothing they could have done to help me at that moment, but I felt like they are the only people I could trust. We have a WhatsApp group chat, so I sent them a message telling them what happened. I have lived in Canada for a couple of years, but it's not easy to make trustworthy friends here. It's actually quite a lonely place. I have met a lot of people, but I don't feel like any of them are my friends. If you are an immigrant in Canada, you probably understand what I mean. Anyway, both of my sisters said something along the lines of, "You need to find a way to get out of there immediately." They told me to make up an excuse, anything, and say I had an emergency and needed to leave. I stayed in the room for some time. It felt like the scariest situation I've ever been in, and it took everything in me not to start crying. After I had collected my thoughts and calmed down, I did what my sisters told me to do. I hadn't unpacked my bag yet, and luckily, we brought my car because it's fuel efficient compared to my boyfriend's. I took my bag and car keys and passed the living room in a rush, saying something came up and I had to leave. I didn't give them a chance to ask any questions, I just got in my car and drove away. It was getting late, and I wasn't in the right state of mind to make the drive back home. I just wanted to get as far away as possible before stopping at a hotel for the night. My boyfriend had called me a couple of times, but I didn't immediately pick up. I called him back, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him what had happened, so I gave him the same excuse I gave his parents. He asked if he should come home as well, and I told him it wasn't necessary. I went home the next day, and my boyfriend showed up at my apartment a few hours later. When I looked at him, it felt like all the love I had for him had just disappeared. Though I acted like everything was fine, I wondered if he was racist too. He had been great throughout our entire relationship, and I never once felt like he had any racist thoughts or feelings, but I can't help but think about how his family made me believe they were nice people, and I keep wondering if he's also just pretending to like me. We don't live together, but my lease is ending in July. He owns his place, so I was supposed to move in with him after my lease ended, but I have managed to get out of moving in with him. I don't feel like I love him anymore. It's been 3 days now since we got back from his parents' place, and I want to end things with him without it causing any trouble, but I'm really scared. I want to tell him what happened, but I'm scared of finding out that he's racist as well. I don't know how he's going to react. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but there are so many stories of women getting unalived by their partners, and I'm scared that I can end up unalived too. I guess I'm imagining the worst case scenario, and I'm judging him based on his parents' actions, not his own, but I am genuinely scared. Even if he isn't racist, his family is, and if we stay together, no matter how much I try to avoid his family, there are still going to be situations where I'll have to interact with them, and I don't think I can ever move past what they said. Update 1. I couldn't keep up with all the comments, but pretty much all of them said to talk to him, so I did. He didn't get all defensive or angry, he just listened to what I had to say, and we ended up having a great conversation about it. So, yesterday we went on a coffee date. Things were a little awkward at first, so as soon as we sat down, I just straight up told him what happened. I expressed how much it bothered me that he left me all alone with his racist parents without a warning, and how terrified I was. He profusely apologized and said he would talk to them about it, and he swore he had no idea that his parents felt this way about black people. I asked him how he didn't know, yet he grew up in their homes. They raised him, so he surely must have heard some racist comments from them before. He explained to me how during his childhood, all the people in his hometown were white. The neighborhoods were all white, the kids in his school were all white, and even his teachers were all white. So race wasn't really a topic that ever came up in their home, school, or anywhere he went. Everyone was just white. He said his parents have always been very kind-hearted people, and those were the people he thought he was bringing me home to. He didn't think that skin color was something he had to worry about, and it didn't cross his mind that he was bringing a person of color to a place that had only white people growing up. He was truly apologetic for that and said he should have known better. Anyway, we kept talking, and he told me about the first time he met a person of color in real life. He was 19 years old and had just moved from his hometown to our city for college. He said he loved meeting people from different places with diverse cultures and backgrounds, which reminded me of when we first met. I thought he was really weird because he would ask me all these questions about my culture and home country. He honestly had so many questions, some of which I didn't even know the answers to. I googled the population of his hometown, and according to the 2022 census, 93% of the population is white. So back then, during his childhood, it was probably 100% white. So, I have chosen to believe him because I guess he thought his parents would have been as open-minded as he was. Some of you might not agree with this decision, but I decided to give him a chance to prove himself before ending things with him. I did point out that if he plans to be with me, a black woman, he needs to understand that he cannot turn a blind eye to any discrimination I might face, including discrimination from his own family. I also told him I didn't expect him to cut ties with his family, but it's going to take a while to salvage my relationship with them, and I'm not yet ready to hear an apology from them. He agreed to this and promised to pay better attention and reassured me that he was on my side. I don't know if he has already spoken to his parents, but this morning I woke up to an apology DM from his sister, and the dots connected. In her message, she stated that she was shocked to hear her mother's words, and that she doesn't actually believe in that. She just agreed with her because it was her mother, and she didn't know what to do in that moment. His sister is attending college in our city, and I had met her a couple of times before, like maybe 3 or 4 times, so I'm thinking she was the one who gave their parents the heads up. She and I weren't that close, but the few times we've met, I didn't feel any hint of racism. We were always civil with each other. Anyway, I still haven't responded to her message, and I don't think I'm going to for now. I don't even know what to say to her. As for my boyfriend and me, I believe we had a meaningful conversation. I'm still not moving in with him, but I think we might be able to maybe work things out. We might not pick up where we left off, but I know we can get back to where we were if we both put in the work. Update 2. Sorry it took so long to update you. I was waiting to see what his parents would say, but it's been 5 months, and I still haven't heard from them. My boyfriend said he spoke to them, and they apologized, but I don't know for sure because I haven't spoken to them. I told my boyfriend that I was willing to talk with them, and he said he'd let them know, but they still haven't reached out. If they're apologetic about what they said, it shouldn't take them this long to reach out. I feel like they want me to be the one that initiates the conversation, but I feel like they should be the ones to reach out first. Also, where would I even start? I've spoken to my boyfriend about this, and he seems torn, like he doesn't know what to do. As for his sister, although she apologized, things are still awkward between us. Maybe one day we'll be able to move past this. Anyway, we are still together, and things are going great for now. I still love him, and I'm hoping that it works out between us, but the fact that his parents haven't made any effort to have a conversation with me or anything is kind of bothering me. I'll update you if I ever speak with them.